guys. I know everybody's wanting more project videos, and I promise you they're coming. I've been so busy these last couple weeks. My band has a show coming up. We have to have our demo done. That's where all my focus has been, that and work. So forgive me on that. More project videos are coming. You know, there was a lot of interest in the neck repair video that Ibanez I just did. And I remembered that this time last year I had done a headstock repair on an Ovation. And it's actually this guitar right here. Now I didn't film that build, which I really should have. It was a lot of fun. But I did take a bunch of pictures. So for those of you who want the cool video, you know, build stuff, I'm sorry, that's not what this video is. You can click away right now. I suggest watching Alex Steele's channel. He's amazing. But for those of you who are just cool and want a chill video and see some pictures of how I fix this thing, stick around. So I know it seems like I get a lot of free stuff, and I guess I do, but usually it's because somebody goes, "Hey Richard, I have a project for you," or my favorite words are, "I have something you might be interested in." That was the case with this. I am fortunate enough to get to work on instruments for some really cool people, and one guy in particular is a sort of staple of the local music scene around here, and I've done work on a few of his guitars, and he called me one day and said, "Hey man, I got something you might be interested in." He said, "I got this Ovation with the headstock snapped off. It was mine. A friend brought it down from Indiana. Headstock snapped off." He said, "Do you want to come look at it?" So I said, "Sure." So I came up and looked at it, and he said, "If you want it, you can have it." And I said, "You know, for real? Because this, you know, it's pretty good celebrity here. It's a good guitar." And he said, "Yeah, no problem. You know, I want to see if you can fix it." So I did. I took it home and fixed it, and now it plays great. But it came to me with a super gnarly headstock break. It was broken straight through. The only thing holding it on was the actual tuning pegs. And when I took those off, I took the top of the headstock and it fitted in the guitar case. So you'll see a picture of that. And I posted that picture to my Facebook in a group called Ugly Guitars, and it just got so much traffic. Everybody was like, "Oh, what a convenient way to carry your guitar headstock around." So I said, "Okay, well, I'll fix it." So I took it upon myself to do so. The very first thing I did after we got it apart was to glue this headstock back together. The grain, it was, like I said, it was a pretty crazy break, so I had to go in and pick out grain, and then I was able to glue it back together pretty well, but you could still see the seam. So I knew I wanted to do something to hide that, and that's why I ended up painting the thing and doing like an old school kind of vintage burst look on it, kind of a stark burst. And after I glued the grain together like that, after I glued the headstock back together, I put a veneer over it. And if you want to see how I did a veneer, you can check out my Making a Cheap Guitar Awesome series that I started year before last now, and I'm still not finished with because, you know, life gets in the way. But you can see how I glue on a veneer. So I glued on the veneer, and I went around with Bondo glazing putty. And any part that was a little bit uneven, I smoothed in some of that stuff and went down and sanded that. And you can see that I went around the entire edge of the veneer and did that. And it glued up really nice. There's a picture I know that I've got. It's got a ton of clamps. It glued up really nice. And then after that, I wanted to really make the grain of that mahogany veneer pop. So I mixed up some literally drywall spackle and black acrylic paint, which is it's a cool way to grain fill. It dries quickly and it sands really well. So did that, sanded that down. That looked really good. I went ahead and made sure at that point that the veneer was flush, and I filled in again, went back with more glazing putty, filled in everything that needed to be filled in, and then started to paint. And so I went down the neck. I taped off the whole body of the guitar, obviously, painted the whole neck black and the headstock black, and left a little bit of an opening that I knew I could sand outward from. So the point of that was to fade the burst just a little bit by just using the sandpaper. And I think, knowing me, it was probably 320, just to fade that a little bit. And then after I got that fade looking the way I wanted it to, I went ahead and smoothed it with some 400 and then 600 grit. And then I bought a water slide decal from eBay. I want to say water slide. I think this was like a gold vinyl, because when you work with a darker finish, you need something that's going to pop on that dark finish, and most water slides are too thin. You'll see right through them and they won't pop. So I got this vinyl one, but it's a little bit thicker than the water slides. So that means it took layers upon layers of clear coat, and I was using a pretty thin clear. I wanted it to run into all the mahogany grain, everything that was left. I needed it to fill that. So it took, I want to say, 13 coats of this clear over the span of 2 or 3 weeks, with sanding in between, light sanding, because I didn't want to mess up my burst. Did that, got everything nice and level so that there's no edges that are visible for the vinyl. It's just nice and smooth on that headstock. And then after all that was done and that dried and gassed off, I went over with my nice automotive clear on the neck and the headstock, and then basically shined it up, put it all back together. I leveled it, put it all back together, and it came out looking pretty good. And so now I have myself a working and very playable, it's got really good action, very playable Ovation acoustic. And you know, I've never been a big fan of Ovations because of this factor, the bowl sliding off your leg, because it's got that curve on the back. But this one plays pretty well, and I don't know if it's because it's an older style or what, but it's got more of a flattened area down bottom, so it seems to take that slidiness out of the equation. Also, it was missing a screw in the bridge down here, and it was missing both of these little plastic covers. So I filled that in. I put new screws. They're just bolts that go through the top. I put those in and put on some abalone dots to make that look right. I didn't have any mother of pearl dots, but I like the abalone more anyway. But yeah, man, I am pretty happy with this guitar. Like I said, I've had it for about a year. There's been no issues of anything breaking or separating, so it came out pretty well. But I don't play it all that much, so I'm thinking about selling it, or maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to say anything. But it's this really pretty green. Matches my my Irish heritage. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. I'm going to actually film another video tonight about a giveaway, so look for that one to pop up sometime this week as well. I appreciate you guys watching, as always, and if you ever want to do a headstock repair or neck repair at home, you totally can. Be patient, know how to use your glue, and ask me some questions if you like. I always appreciate that. I've met a lot of people who are super cool on YouTube recently. But anyway, I'm getting off track. You guys have a good rest of the week, and I will see you next time.